then someone forced me because I had stomach pain. I just thought I had food poisoning or something, so I kept on. 5%, which is what economists call the hidden third. So we're not just talking about a leak on all of us, because it's less money that comes in for schools that we did. And the same episode you mentioned, the cocaine trafficking, which I'll never forget. And why are you doing what you do? He says, because I've always wanted to be a dentist. I want to go to school and be a dentist, but my family's too poor and they can't afford my education. And the only job that I have available for me now is doing this cocaine trafficking, like friends are coming out. And these are stories I hear all the time. So the idea of being able to place ourselves in position.
Maybe I should branch out.
I've always wanted to do it, and I tried. We had done an iteration of it a couple of years ago, but I just didn't have the time because I was traveling, half the year or more for traffic. So it was really hard to.
No, it's really crazy because of the success of traffic, the amount of messages I still get on Instagram and social media on a weekly basis from people who want to be on the show. Now with the podcast as well, and we are done. They show me photos of the stuff that they're. And what I found was very more than anywhere else. I have good contacts there. I have an incredible local journalist called Miguel Angel Vega, he's a fixer. He's the guy that any journalist in the world who wants to get access to the cartel will contact him. And then he has his own contacts. He's part of a brave journalist with his own contacts. And then he basically contacts his people, and then they decide if they want to talk or not. And a lot of I filmed more from Sinaloa than anywhere else in the world.
But it's got to be very scary to go there and hang out with those people. Did they put boundaries on topics?
I'm not on top. Yeah, for example, I'm not, even though I'm in Sinaloa, I'm not supposed to ask which cartel people work for. It's obvious that when you're in Sinaloa, where we interviewed a guy who goes by the name of T, and he had a room packed with rifles. And when I started asking him where they were from, he was like, "Oh, this one was confiscated. We have an LAPD contact that sells us a lot of our drugs."
I just don't understand what benefit to them.
To the police?
Yeah, for them, no, but for that, no.
ANG, which is a cartel, Jalisco, they're fighting for power, right? So here's an opportunity to. Very often, or more often than not, it's not the bosses or the kingpins that I'm talking to, right? It's the sicarios, it's the middle and low level people. It's the traffickers, it's the chemists, the smugglers. It's not the kingpins. And for them, they spend their whole lives doing something that sometimes their own families don't know they do. Like I remember an episode we did for Neil, and he uses that, and I saw him using it. It's not Cerelac, actually, it's Maizena, which is another brand, but he uses this sort of cornmeal to finish these bills, to make it the consistency, when you touch it, feel exactly like the real stuff.
Is it made with the same paper?
No, it's a different paper. The paper is the hardest part to get, because the paper you can only get in the U.S. Federal Reserves or wherever the paper
But that
comes from.
seems like an easy thing to duplicate.
Yeah,
paper.
It's not very hard, and particularly if you put the, all the little creases and curves and what. Yeah,
What about those little things that you can only see with like a flash? Food isn't good for us as humans. Why would it be any different for our dogs? The farmer's dog is real, fresh food for dogs, and the recipe goes beyond the bad stuff that comes from ultra processing. Their food is developed by a team of on-staff, board-certified vet nutritionists who make sure it's all complete and balanced, and it's backed by research and made to human-grade safety standards. It's portioned for your dog, making it easy to manage their weight. And they label each pack with your dog's name that lets you know that this food is truly packed for them. The real dog people who care about your dog anytime. The farmer's dog says good ingredients matter, but the best recipe.
They buy things, but they also have people that exchange that for less cash. Yeah, that's what it was. I think they end up getting people.
Some people that know.
Yeah, that know, and they end up getting. So they get real money in exchange for.
They get 70% of what a real bill is?
I mean, the whole operation, I think, was.
So if
I don't know. It just sounded like it. I don't know. Everyone has weird names. Yes. I'm getting full and I just ate half of one. Yeah. I don't know. I did all the preps now. Mm-hmm.
Guy with a turn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Ugh.
Yeah. But
What a
yeah.
terrifying world that only exists because of an illegal market that the United States fuels.
Yeah, the biggest drug consumers in the world.
We're number one.
Largest, number one.
We're
Number one. I mean, incarcerations, number one. It's $150 billion in drugs that we spend every year.
That's
It
so
is
crazy.
crazy. And, you know, we share this border with Mexico, which is fortunate and very unfortunate for them.
Right.
They blame us for creating the consumer market. We blame them for creating the drugs that feed this consumer market. And
Is there anyone that has a realistic solution to how to at least mitigate some of that?
we've talked about this. We had a little bit of a debate about this last time because I keep giving the example of Portugal, and you said, which has decriminalized drugs, right?
Yeah.
And I know Portugal is not the United States. We're 10 million people. We're a small country, but it worked there.
Yeah.
Drug abuse went down, incarceration went down, HIV went down, levels of HIV went down.
Oregon was already so lawless that going to Oregon, it like allowed people to like ramp it up. And so, because you could get anything and everything was decriminalized, they just went ham.
Yeah, and also they didn't have the system in place for people who actually wanted rehab.
Right.
And so when you don't, what are people going to do? They're going to go back to
Well,
drugs.
even